Guys, welcome back. So this is the first recap video, so please give me some grace. It's gonna be a little bit out there and choppy, and a few townies are gonna just have their blacked out photos. I unfortunately forgot to save an extra copy when I changed it. Okay, so after this disclaimer, let's get into it. Okay, in the year 1300, Recolda Godfrey was born and became an infant. Norman Shaw and Natalie Shaw became children. Greg and Alice Baudelaire both became children, and that is all the birthdays that we have for this year. Marriages, Melcinde and Edwin did get married. Roll Dubois marries Amice Dubois, and they run away to the English countryside. Roll was a rich Frenchman. He was next in line to be Earl. He fled to England. Roll's family came from France back to England, which is where their Alice Dubois, Roll's mother, is from, and so they moved back there. So Roll, has this kind of feelings of guilt and I guess remorse. Amice is pregnant. Yay! Sif, a neighbor, comes through and says, I'm not going to help you with your child. It's a demon. People in this town are saying that it's a demon baby. Amice is very distraught, very confused. Roll doesn't believe in this stuff. He doesn't think it's true. Amice then confronts Sif to say, what the heck, did you curse me? And they very much don't like each other. Amice then goes to a nun, talks to a nun, says meet her at midnight because they can't talk about this right now. And Roll does not believe her, believe these weird people. They think this is very strange, but Roll doesn't believe in any of this prophecy stuff, or even that people are saying this crazy stuff about Amice. In 1301, Cassian Godfrey, Ediva McAllister, Charlotte and Cecilia Dubois are born, and Goss II Dubois becomes a teenager. Amice meets up with Hiwa on the main island. Amice finds out about the prophecy, and she fits it almost perfectly. Hiwa tells Amice about a friend on the island, Sister Avice, that could help her instead of having to go across the bay. Roland is upset because Amice was home late, but Amice convinces him that she just went to go talk to the nuns, which wasn't necessarily a lie, and he apologizes for the miscommunication. The next day, Amice meets with Sister Avice, and Avice tells her about the prophecy. The baby needs to be bathed in the mood to save the baby's soul, but also should probably be offered up to the ministry. Well, all this is happening, Roll goes out and gets drunk. He sees his sister Melcinde after she got married, and he gets really upset and sad because he's poor and unfortunately isn't a part of his sister's life anymore. He goes and meets up with Siv, and he starts to cheat with Siv, although he vows he'll never leave his wife. It's twins! Amice gives birth to twins. She does exactly as the nuns say, invite them over, and unfortunately, the nuns can't do anything about the two babies, for they don't know which one is the demon spawn or the evil one. So, essentially, Amice is left on her own to raise both children, although one could be very evil. In the year 1302, Bruce and Matilda II Carpenter are born. Broom McAllister is born and becomes an infant. An unnamed Godfrey is born, but does not make it, unfortunately. Roland and Miriam Dubois are born. How exciting. And an unnamed York is born. Recolda becomes a toddler. Cassian Godfrey, Ediva McAllister, and Charlotte Dubois become toddlers. And Cecilia Dubois unfortunately dies. Joya York becomes a teenager, And that's it. Those are all the birthdays. Joya York and Goss II Dubois also married this year. Amis wakes up with this looming feeling that something bad is going to happen to one of her babies. She goes to talk to Sister of Ice. Sister of Ice tells Warner that she's almost convinced that Amis is going to do something bad to her children because she's so paranoid. And obviously, Warner takes Sister of Ice's side. But also, Father Warner says you have to be 1,000% certain because this is a serious accusation. And Sister of Ice says, well, I don't know, maybe not. It was just how she was talking to me seemed a little crazy. And Amis loves Charlotte. It's her favorite kid. She honestly thinks Cecilia is the demon child, and she's almost convinced of it. Roll, however, loves Cecilia, so much so that he doesn't think she deserves to live this poor, unfulfilled life. He decides to leave her outside in the cold for sickness to get her, to freeze, for the animals to get her, because the next morning, she's gone. Amis knows Roll did it because she wakes up without Cecilia, but she doesn't do anything about it because that's her husband. Roll is so guilty. He is just consumed by this feeling of guilt, and he goes and sees Sif. He goes over in a frantic state, and looks for Sif's comfort. However, she's like, "What's wrong?" And Roll says, "We can't see each other anymore. It's not gonna work." And obviously, Sif is a little freaked out. But Roll leaves and goes home back to the farm. And then Amis gives birth to another set of twins, Roland and Miriam Dubois. Roll loves Roland with his whole entire heart. He hates Miriam, however, because she reminds him so much of Cecilia and this guilt that he can't shake. The ministry shows up. They claim that Amis is an unfit mother and that they've heard rumors that there's horrible things happening in this farm. Obviously, Amis is denying this and saying no, she tries hard for her family. But then they ask, where has Cecilia gone? And she, unfortunately, cannot answer. In the year 1303, a Mabel Boulangerie was born and became an infant. Gamel McAllister was born and became an infant. Gunter Boleyn was born and became an infant. Bruce and Matilda II Carpenter became toddlers. They say that they're going to have some weekly visits, yearly, monthly visits to make sure that actually the conditions of this home are up to the ministry standards. And if they don't pass and Amis doesn't pass, her children will go to the ministry. Yvette York, the mother of Joya York, comes to the door demanding to speak with Roll. Roll answers the door talking to her about the life that he's living now. Joya was very worried about this marrying into this life, especially because of the rumors of Roll living this povertish life. And Yvette was now also seeing it. She was very worried about her daughter marrying into this family. And obviously, Roll says, listen, be careful with Goss. He's just like my father. They're kind of horrible people, so sorry, not sorry. And then Yvette leaves. Later that year, Roll, still being consumed by guilt and by Miriam being in their house, just this constant reminder, he goes and sees Sif, and he woohoos her, immediately feeling terribly guilty. He tells her, I love my wife, this isn't the life I want. Then he goes home and woohoos with Amis, and he's overly nice to Amis. In the year 1304, Mel Dubois was born and became an infant. Francis Boulangerie was born and became an infant, and Wyman Dubois was born and became an infant. Additionally, a nun named York and a nun named Godfrey were born, and Lena McAllister was also born. Roland and Miriam Dubois became toddlers, and Mabel Boulangerie became a toddler. R and Anis Boulangerie became teens. Goss II comes up to Roll's home, and they have a huge fight. Basically, Goss II says, leave my life alone, you're gonna regret it. I came here to laugh and mock you. You are nothing to me, and you will leave my family alone. Roll essentially is saying, get out of my house! My wife is in labor, she was. Please leave right now. After about 1.5 years of no one coming or no letters, Amis finally goes out and finds Haiwa, saying, where have you been? Where are you going? Like, are you gonna come? Haiwa says, we've been trying to contact you for months, and you haven't said anything. We were gonna drop by within the year, actually, and she invites him over. She says, come over, see my life, see my house. Please, I want you to believe that I am fit. Vivian, a neighbor, comes over, says, listen, I'm here to help. She helps with the new baby. Later on, she says, you're very poor. This is very discombobulated life that you're living. Amis is obviously very offended. And says, you are in the same circumstance as me, are you not? Like, you need to check yourself a little bit. The nuns come over, seeing that the house is perfectly fit, but then Roll shows up, very confused, saying, please leave, and they do, but the ministry basically tells Amis that there's nothing really they can do, but Sister of Vice really wants to keep her monitored. Very, very confident that she needs to be monitored still. At the end of the year, Siv tells Roll by letter that she's pregnant. Doesn't know if it's his kid, and it doesn't really matter. We know, however, that the baby dies. The baby doesn't make it, but Roll is left wondering if it is his, if it's not. And Roll, even if it is, he's not gonna really mess with it, because they're gonna just think it's another one of Edric's babies. So, again, the moral dilemma, but we know that the baby does not make it, but Roll is left wondering. In the year 1305, an unnamed Boulangerie was born, which, guys, it's bourgeois, I figured that out, died. Percival Dubois, Dahlia Dubois, born and became an infant. Agnes York was born and became an infant, and Herman Godfrey was born. Lena McAllister became an infant. Gamel McAllister and Gunter Boleyn became toddlers. Mel Dubois unfortunately passed away. Francis Bourgeois became a toddler, and Wyman Dubois became a toddler. Mel Cindy became a young adult, but unfortunately she died during childbirth. Oh my goodness, so devastating. Gilbert Shaw and Edward Bourgeois became young adults also. We also had a lot of marriages this year. Anais and Gilbert Shaw got married. Simon and Beatrice Belcott got married. Gel and Wart Baudelaire got married. And R and Lucia Bourgeoisie got married this year. So exciting. Werner stops by, says you're good, you're clear, don't worry about this anymore. Seriously, it's all good. Roll goes to see Sif because obviously he heard about the baby. I heard you had a kid. I think it's mine, says Roll. She says it was probably, we don't know for sure, the baby's dead, it doesn't matter. She had beautiful blonde hair, which doesn't really make that much sense, so I'm assuming it's your kid. Doesn't matter though, because she passed on. And Roll can feel nothing but absolute relief, which is horrible, but he feels so relieved that this burden is not on him anymore. From this day forward, he tries really hard to be a better person. Amis then realizes it's a Vice who ratted on her and who reported her. They have a huge falling out. Really, Amis feels so betrayed by her one really good friend, Sister of Vice. And Sister of Vice just says, I needed to be there for your children. This is not anything me or you could have done or resolved. It needed to be through the church. Wymond, the little charmer he is secretly very, very mean to his siblings. But to their face, to the parents' face, he's so sweet, so kind, especially to Roll. Wyman figures out young that he has to get in good with Roll for him to have any chance of any succession, especially some sort of land or some sort of money after, because he is the second son. which doesn't get him a lot. In the year 1306, we had a huge baby boom. Oh my goodness, there's so many birthdays. Okay. Manfred and Maud Fraser were born and became infants. An unnamed Baudelaire was born but unfortunately died. Grace Shaw was born and became an infant. And Irene Dubois was born and became an infant. Gladys Belcott, Rose Bourgeoisie, and Gus III Dubois were all born and became infants. And then Wolfstand and Wymark York were born. Lena McAllister became a toddler. Percival Dubois became a toddler, but he unfortunately died. Dahlia Dubois became a toddler. Recolder Godfrey was supposed to become a child, but unfortunately died. And Beatrice Belcott became a young adult. Vivian Belcott comes over and confronts Roll, saying that, yes, I do live this povertish life, but you have way more than I. I know what you did to Cecilia and with Sif. Essentially, she blackmails him for 100 with interest, 100 simoleons with interest, which really turns into 200 simoleons. And so to keep up with this very high monetary demand, he sells half of the fish and meat he gets, trying to keep up with it indefinitely currently. R comes to tell Roll that unfortunately his sister has passed away, and that's horrible. Sif comes over with Osberts and flirts directly in front of Roll. This is when Roll finally realizes that he is not special. This relationship really truly meant nothing to her, that she's a serial romantic, and he cuts her off, says, we're kind of done, we're not going to do this anymore, we're done. And Sif does not take it very well. We find out that Wymond is slowly becoming more like Goss the First. Very vindictive, very evil. And to finish off the year, Sif invites out Amis to talk about Roll. Essentially, she tells him about their cheating, and we finish the episode with Amis crying, finally knowing the truth. In the year 1307, another huge year, baby booms, oh my goodness. We have Martin Godfrey, who was born and became an infant, Gregory Belcott, who was born and became an infant, Everard Dubois, Lambert Baudelaire, both became infants. An unnamed carpenter was born, but unfortunately did not make it. Agnes York, Herman Godfrey, both became toddlers. Manfred Fraser and Maud Fraser both died. Grace Shaw, Irene Dubois, both became toddlers. Gladys Belcott unfortunately died. Rose Blangerie and Gus Dubois both became toddlers as well. Cassian Godfrey, Adiva McAllister, and Charlotte Dubois all became children. Samson York became a teenager, and Wart Baudelaire became a young adult. Amy says thank you, and then she goes home kind of already knowing about the affair, but she thinks it's done and over with, especially because of the conversation she had with Roll. Then a vice comes over, essentially saying, I know you did this, you're not really fit to have kids, but I miss my friend, I hope we can come to terms with everything, and hopefully they can. Charlotte, being the oldest, and now old enough to do chores around the house, feels very pressured to do them well and help her mother. Amis is very appreciative to Charlotte, especially because it makes her workload so much lighter, so much easier. She has so much to do with the kids, the affair, her life falling apart. However, that gives a lot of responsibility and puts a lot of pressure on Charlotte. Additionally, remember the money that Roll has to give to Vivian. In the year 1308, Sarah Boulangerie, Caitlin Dubois, Adam Shaw are born and become infants. Marion Godfrey, Mabel Dubois, and Anna Dubois are both all born. However, Anna Dubois does not make it to infanthood. Edith Fraser becomes an infant. Wolfstan York and Wymark York become toddlers. Martin Godfrey, Gregory Belcott, Everard Dubois, Lambert Baudelaire are all become toddlers. Bruce Carpenter and Matilda the Second Carpenter become children. Roland Dubois becomes a child, however Miriam Dubois dies. Norman Shaw and Nellie Shaw become teenagers. Gregory and Alice Belcott also become teenagers. Gus the Second Dubois becomes a young adult, and Miguel Baudelaire becomes a young adult as well. Samson York and Nally York, formerly Shaw, got married this year as well. Amis is attempting to work through her feelings of unfulfilledness in her life, especially regarding her husband and children. Roll is relieved that Miriam is dead. She was the last surviving reminder of Cecilia, and this is his turning point. He feels like he's free of the guilt of Cecilia, and now he just has to deal with Civ. Roland meets up with Civ and really breaks it off, with Civ saying that she told Amis what happened, and Amis seemed cool with it. That was his moment of realization that he had to work through his own stuff, and he's completely done with Civ. Vice comes over and truly apologizes to Amis. Amis forgives her under the pretenses that they have to be friends at a distance for a while. With Miriam dying, Charlotte tries to comfort Roland, saying that she knows what it's like to have a twin who's dead. However, Roland believes that it happened so long ago, and Charlotte lived most of her life without a twin, comparatively to Roland, who had Miriam his whole life. However, he appreciates the comfort, and Charlotte and Roland become very tight. In the year 1309, Edith Dubois was born and became an infant. Juliana Shaw and Bartholomew Fraser were born and became infants. Edith Fraser, Sarah Boulangerie, and Caitlin Dubois became toddlers, while Adam Shaw unfortunately passed away. Mabel Boulangerie, Gamal McAllister, and Gunter Boleyn all became children. Genevieve Fraser became a teenager, and Simon Belcott became a young adult. Also, Stella Baudelaire became an infant. Additionally, Edwin Bourgeoisie and Tefina Bourgeoisie, formerly Short, got married. And Norman Shaw and Genevieve Shaw, formerly Fraser, also got married this year. This year, Charlotte meets Bruce Carpenter, who she has a little bit of a crush on, and by proxy, she meets Matilda Carpenter, who slowly kind of turns into her best friend. However, Matilda has a crush on Roland, and Roland does not feel the same. Eventually, Bruce asks Charlotte to hang out, and she convinces Roland to come, although he's very hesitant. A girl is there, and her name's Adiva. Roland falls head over heels in love with her. However, Adiva was just a tag-along. No one really likes her back in town. It was really their mother are friends, and she was forced to come. However, Roland loves that she's there. Additionally, Matilda only is really using Charlotte for her brother, also saying she'll get Bruce to stop liking her or talking to her if she doesn't get Roland to like her as well. Because Roland and Adiva are having so much fun and they love hanging out with each other, Matilda starts getting horribly jealous and starts blaming Charlotte, saying that she's going to start spreading rumors about her and Bruce going off on their own, which is horrible, because they could be doing something bad, or it's not it's not what they're supposed to do. Back at home, Beatrice Baudelaire comes to their home, talking to Amis, suggesting her to be very careful of Vivian, because she has a tendency to do cruel things. Amis is very confused, invites her in, cause what? And eventually, Roll comes home and gets upset at her presence, suggesting that she needs to leave. Beatrice says, don't tell me I didn't warn you. I tried. How dare you? I'm never going to help you guys again. This whole interaction leaves Amis very confused. In the year 1310, which is crazy by the way, 10 whole years we've been playing this well, an unnamed bourgeoisie was born but unfortunately died. Destonia York was born. An unnamed Dubois was born but unfortunately died. And then Isabeau Dubois was born. Destonia York and Isabeau also became infants. Miriam Godfrey, Mabel Dubois, Stella Baudelaire, and Edith Dubois all became toddlers. Frances Boulangerie became a child, and Wymond Dubois dies. Lena McAllister also becomes a child. Mabon Belcott was supposed to become a teen, but unfortunately he passes away. Roll Dubois and Amie Dubois both age up into adults. However, Amise dies. She rolls to die, but we begged and she lived. Goss and Alice Dubois also got their death rolls, and Thomas Boulangerie died of old age. Amise and Wyman both get ill with this horrible sickness. When they're on their deathbed, Amise, she dies, but then she gets resuscitated by her husband and she has a magical recovery. However, Wyman does not suffer the same fate or grace. He unfortunately passes from this illness. Sif, trying to get Roll back, goes to Wyman's funeral and basically starts begging Amise to convince him to have an open marriage situation, to allow them to have some sort of contact. However, Amise is like, this is so inappropriate. How dare you do this? This is my child's funeral. What's wrong with you? Roland is mourning the loss of Wyman, and he reflects on his life a lot. He realizes how enamored he is with the diva and how much he loves being around her and how much time they spend together. Diva, to hopefully help Roland forget about his brother's death, invites him over to her home. However, Roland sees then how disconnected her family is and how alone she really is. Roland vows that hopefully he can give her the life that she's always wanted. That's it! That's the 10-year recap of the 1300s to 1310. Guys, I'm serious, this took me like half a year to do. I have like 5 episodes fully edited and made. This episode just took me so long and I have no idea why. It just took me so long. Especially, I think it was just because I had to find all of the little photos and the clips and then it was compiling it all together. But I really hope you enjoyed it, and I didn't want to post the other episodes before I finish this, so now we are back. You guys will have some episodes to go through. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this, guys. I put a lot of time and effort in. If you guys would like to like and subscribe, I would so appreciate that. Oh my god, I haven't said this in so long, but don't forget to like and subscribe. I already said that. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye!